Hey everyone, new warning coming here. This is Andrew with Nashville Severe Weather. We got a severe thunderstorm warning coming out for Davidson. I'm going to go ahead and tweet our link here. Give me just a second. All right, let's get a link for us. Okay. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning coming out. It is not quite out yet, but it's on its way. So new severe thunderstorm warning will be coming for Davidson County, and that's going to be for this storm up here in Robertson County, and it's going to extend down into northern Davidson County. So that's what this severe thunderstorm warning will be for. This is for strong, damaging straight-line winds that look to be really strong. I mean, winds up to 70 miles per hour are possible with this as this comes through. And up in Springfield, we're seeing some very strong winds possible up there, up to 86 miles per hour coming through Springfield right now. That's up at about 1,500 feet above the ground. So we hope that's not reaching the ground. But those winds are very strong in Springfield, I would have to say, even if the 86 isn't reaching the ground. Still very strong. So damaging straight line winds possible for northern Davidson County. That's going to include areas all the way as possibly as far down south as downtown Nashville, up to Madison, Beeman Park, Joelton, Bakers, Luton's, Ivy Point, Greer Road. And I'd say the further north you are in Davidson County, the more the danger is there of this strong area of strong, gusty, damaging winds. So again, looking up here in Robertson County, up here really coming right down the highway from Springfield all the way into Greenbrier and Ridgetop, straight down the highway here, it looks like winds up to 89 to 90 miles per hour up at about 1,300 feet. I hope those aren't reaching the surface. Gracious. Hope those aren't reaching the surface. But if they are reaching the surface, they're going to come straight down the highway here into Greenbrier, Ridgetop, and down into Bakers and Luton's and eventually Goodlettsville. All right, so if you know anybody outside right now up in that area, there's a lot of trees out there. This is going to come in pretty quick. We don't want those trees coming down on anybody up there. And hey, Graham, how's it going, man?
How are you?
All right, so Graham's going to be running our Instagram here, and he is also going to be just making sure I'm not missing anything here. I think it's just the two of us today, Graham. So make sure I'm not missing something.
You got it.
Like a warning comes out and I have no idea. So it looks like the strongest area of wind indicated by radar is going to be right up here southeast of Springfield, coming into Greenbrier and Ridgetop, and then we'll be coming down the ridge and be getting into areas like Bakers and Luton's and Millersville over there in Sumner County, and coming down into Goodlettsville. That looks to be where the strongest winds are now. And let's see what the weather service is. Well, they're just saying that new severe thunderstorm warning came out. Let's talk about how to prepare for this. If you are down in Davidson County, up in the northern part of Davidson County, you need to be prepared for some really like exceptionally strong straight line winds. And we just have to go by what radar is showing us, which is 90, 91 miles per hour up there. And that's going to be at about 1,200, 1,300 feet off the ground. And that's going to be right near Stacy Springs Road that comes off the highway there, going from Greenbrier to Ridgetop, and that's moving down to the southeast pretty fast. So let's go over to TBNA and look and see what it's showing as well. And it's also showing that area sort of in a different perspective. It's showing that perspective too of about 86 mile per hour winds up at about 1,900 feet. So between Springfield and Greenbrier right now is where that is, and that is generally moving to the southeast toward Davidson County. The National Weather Service says that winds continue to increase with this severe storm in Robertson County, and they're going to issue a destructive severe thunderstorm warning with winds up to 80 miles per hour. So this is very rare actually. This will actually set off your cell phones. So the WEA alerts are going to go off for Nashville. Anybody within the polygon here is going to get really a pretty rare severe thunderstorm warning WEA alert on your phone. So we don't see that often around here. And so that's for this area of wind coming into Greenbrier right now that appears to be destructive. And so anybody in the northern part of Davidson County, take shelter in a substantial shelter. In fact, I would say if you are in, north of downtown Nashville, you need to be in a place that you would maybe typically go in a tornado, because these winds are going to be considered destructive coming into the far northern tip of Davidson County, up around Bakers and Ridgetop and Luton's, and coming down the highway into Goodlettsville. This could be a big deal, okay? So please take any precautions that you possibly can to keep yourself safe. And what it looks like they've done is they've issued a new polygon that is going to be, that's going to have that destructive tag to it on this severe thunderstorm warning. That should pop up here in just a sec. Well, you see it there on TBNA. Let me go back over to our other radar here. So, all right, here's what we've got. I know this is messy. Let me explain it to you. This polygon that is within the others, so this yellow polygon that's within the other polygons, that includes Greenbrier, Springfield, Bakers, Luton's, Millersville, Hendersonville, Madison, Lakewood, Hermitage. If you're within this polygon, you are especially in danger of destructive, life-threatening straight-line winds. Don't take this lightly, all right? So be in, I would say, your tornado safe place. You need to be off the road. You need to be in a safe place that includes as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And again, this isn't for a tornado. This is for straight line winds that could be a real problem in northern Davidson County. Radar still indicating winds up to 85 miles per hour coming right through the middle of Greenbrier right now. And so many of you are having your cell phones go off because these types of severe thunderstorm warnings, which is the top tier of severe thunderstorm warning that can be issued, of the 3 tiers of severe thunderstorm warnings, the top tier will issue a WEA alert on your cell phone, which is normally reserved for tornadoes and very, very serious flash floods. So your phones have gone off up here, and that's because of this destructive, potentially destructive straight line wind event coming through Greenbrier, coming right down Highway 41. So let me tell you where this is. We're going to zoom down a little bit more, and the strong winds are just about to come into Davidson County up at the far northern part of Davidson County. So you've got Greenbrier here. You've got the road, the highway here that goes to Ridgetop. You've got like the Ridgetop tunnel up here where the railroad is. You got like the tunnel there. You've got Bakers. You've got Luton's, you've got Freeman Hollow and Baker Road, a lot of trees up here. You've got Tenon Road, you've got, let's see what else is up there, Fox Chase Drive, Baker Station Road. All of these areas in far northern Davidson County could be at exceptional risk for life-threatening straight-line damaging winds. And you need to be in really your tornado safe place as these winds come through. So these winds are a little bit stronger. They may be as strong as a low end tornado, all right, as they come in. So it looks like right now radar is still indicating winds possibly up to 85 miles per hour there in Greenbrier, coming down toward Ridgetop and about to enter Davidson County. I'm going to go over to TBNA and look and see what it's showing here. It's showing 60 to 70, 76 miles an hour coming into Ridgetop. It doesn't have as good of an angle on this as the Weather Service radar. All right, so let's talk about what to do here real quick. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that is the highest tier of severe thunderstorm warning. It is naming the possibility of destructive winds coming into northern Davidson County, including Bakers and Luton's. And like up on the highway here, there's a market, Baker's Market there on the highway at the bottom of the ridge. This includes there. Those of you that live in the Bakers community and Ivy Point, Greer Road areas, Baker Station Road, that's exactly where this is. And it's as strong as a low-end tornado. So please be in your safe place. Don't be in a car driving up and down these roads because there's a lot of trees, and that's a serious danger right now. All right, so let's back out just a little bit. I'll tell you what, first let me check with the Weather Service. So it looks like the strongest winds with this are going to stay north of downtown Nashville and the airport. We're going to see how that evolves over the next little bit and watch radar and see if that remains the case. Weather Service believes the strongest winds are going to stay north of downtown Nashville. But they say that radar is still showing those winds near or over 80 miles per hour. That was in Greenbrier a little bit ago, a couple of minutes ago, moving into very intense wind damage as possible in the Ridgetop, Millersville, Goodlettsville, and Hendersonville areas. All right, so pay attention to this. Don't let this sneak up on you. All right, don't let it sneak up on you. This is a big deal. I'm gonna check and see if we just happen to have a couple of cameras available. All right, I know this is tilted, but this is actually up in Goodlettsville. This got a little wind blown not too long ago, but this is up at the First Baptist Church in Goodlettsville. We're going to watch that. I'm also going to have see if I can pull up a camera. Let's see, up toward Millersville, maybe just to the south of Millersville. So I'm going to pull up a camera there as well, and we're going to see if we can see what's going on up that way. But let me go back for now. Let's go back over to radar. I don't want this to sneak up on anyone. This is coming through Bakers and Luton's right now, coming into Goodlettsville as well. If you know anybody that's outside, maybe at the swimming pool or something like that, there's our new radar scan, and it's coming into the lower Walkers Creek, Licton Pike area, coming into Goodlettsville, right along Old Springfield Pike. There's a campground there, and then coming down the main street into Goodlettsville, and then crossing into Sumner County. So it looks like the trajectory of the strongest winds looks like it's going to be from about Old Springfield Pike, Licton Pike, down right through Goodlettsville, especially the northern parts of Goodlettsville, and then kind of ride the Davidson Sumner County line and head over toward Rivergate. All right, so that looks like where the strongest part of it is, but really all the way down to about Old Hickory Boulevard near Madison. It needs to have a heads up on these destructive winds as this comes in. I'm going to be watching over here for power flashes on this camera. That's a little cattywampus up there in Goodlettsville that got a little bit wind blown. But we're gonna be watching for power flashes up there. Would not surprise me at all to see power flashes down there. If you see that roof, that white roof on the left side, right above that is where the wind is. So sort of on the left side of your screen where the trees meet the sky, be watching for some flashes there. And that would be where the power flashes would be in this storm as it comes through. Now I'm watching this thing, and I mean, it is moving. I mean, it is really moving. So we're going to keep an eye on this. It's moving fast down here toward this camera. All right, so we're going to keep this up for a little bit, and I'm going to describe to you sort of where this storm is now based on radar. So coming into Goodlettsville now, and this camera is going to have a perfect shot of it. It's going to come right in front of this camera as it comes in. So let's talk about this. If you have a report of wind damage, could you please send that using hashtag TSpotter? And we would love to have that report. We'll get that to the Weather Service. So use hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. Those clouds are moving quick, y'all. So strongest winds coming into Goodlettsville now. You can see the awning there starting to flap in the wind just a little bit. I have a feeling that will get more so here over the next few minutes. But again, this is in Goodlettsville. Looking to the north, up Main Street, there's an intersection there that's going to be Rivergate Parkway and Main Street in Goodlettsville. This is the First Baptist Church. They're looking to the north in Goodlettsville. All right, so there's the rain. The rain's getting there. We're going to see how the wind picks up. If the wind picks up there on this camera over the next couple of minutes. Looks like strong winds now impacting Goodlettsville on radar. Really the core of the strong winds look to be there very near this camera. And they're going to be, in fact, they're crossing I-65 now. They're in Goodlettsville and will continue moving to the southeast in Rivergate. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that highlights the potential of destructive severe thunderstorm straight line winds there as the storm moves through that could damage structures even. It looks like we've lost the camera.
Yep.
So camera's frozen there. I'm not surprised at all. I'm going to go over and look at a T-dot camera here, and oh man, I'm going to see if I can share it here. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so here we go.
If you guys are on Instagram, you can send us a DM too with any reports that you have, wind damage, hail.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Send us those reports on Instagram as well. This is a view from Goodlettsville. This is a T-dot camera. According to radar, the strongest winds here are coming straight through Goodlettsville and pushing down to the southeast toward Rivergate. And this was the last view that we had of the camera in Goodlettsville before we lost it there, and it was pretty intense. It was pretty intense. So it looks like the strongest winds now crossing I-65 and moving to the southeast. So power outages are pretty certain. Looks like that's going to be a problem over the next little bit. And here is the radar view so you can see where this is headed. All right, so look at the blues and then know where you are on the map. You got Hendersonville over here to the east in Sumner County, and then you got Lakewood and you got Madison. And it looks like the strongest winds now are pushing down, are crossing. It's crossing Gallatin Road and right there in Rivergate and Vietnam Vets. There, right as you go into Sumner County. So that looks like where the strongest winds are now. In fact, I'm going to go over and check out another couple of cameras over here closer to where that is. No, Weather Service says they say radar shows winds of 70 miles per hour moving through Goodlettsville and into Hendersonville, and we're continuing to see that on radar. Weather Service is noting that these kinds of winds, as we've been mentioning, these kinds of winds that we see here that are they're actually heading straight for the Weather Service office. These kinds of winds will bring down trees and power lines with no problem. No problem at all for them to be able to do that. In fact, I'll remind you, this was the last shot we had from the camera in Goodlettsville, and those trees were whipping. And then we lost the cameras, presumably to a power outage there at the church, First Baptist Church in Goodlettsville there on Main Street. So we do expect power outages. We expect trees to come down. And so we do expect some infrastructure damage as this comes in. So please, if you're in Hendersonville, I know this is over in Sumner County, but if you're in Hendersonville, really it's about there by now. But if you're not in a safe place, please be in a safe place. Really, we're calling this, we've been asking you even to just get in your safe place that you would be in a tornado. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Why not? Go ahead and do that. These winds, anytime they issue a severe thunderstorm warning, that's at the top tier of warnings that they can issue. So you have levels 1, 2, and 3. This is a 3. These are not issued often for our area. And, these are the ones that'll ping your cell phones with WEA alerts. So anytime that's issued, I just say go ahead and get in that tornado safe place, even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, just so you are as far away from the winds as possible. and definitely as far away as possible from things that could fall. So it looks like the strongest winds now are crossing Old Hickory Lake. Let me turn off the radar. Yeah, crossing Old Hickory Dam right now. So they've crossed. Strongest winds have crossed Old Hickory Dam, and it is really right there in Hendersonville, and crossing over and gonna go straight across the residential peninsula there on the south side of Hendersonville by the lake is where this is right now. Let's talk about reports for a second. So please send in your reports of tree damage and use hashtag TSpotter for those. And I'm going to check and see what kinds of things have been reported. Kara says it's absolutely wild outside here in the Baker and Luton area. Winds are ripping and power is going in and out. That was up there in the Baker and Luton's area. That's in Davidson County on the far northern tip. That was Kara about 5 minutes ago up there in the Baker and Luton's area that we mentioned just a little bit ago. So that's the only report right now we have on T-Spotter. I would assume that we'll get some more. Please send in those reports of tree power line damage. Weather Service says those 60 and 80 mile per hour winds are continuing to move across Hendersonville currently per all radars. All radars are showing that occurring right now. This is headed really right for the Weather Service office. The National Weather Service is located right here, right on the edge of Old Hickory Lake, and near the Green Hill area, and right there along Saundersville Road, and where that radar blank spot is, that's called the cone of silence of their radar. And so we may need to switch radars here in a little bit as this wind approaches their area. But it will be sort of moving out of Davidson County at that point. Boy, we got a lot of warnings in effect here, and they're all kind of for different stuff. So let me kind of get an idea here of what we have. We just actually got a report out of Ridgetop that numerous trees and power lines are down in the Greenbrier and Ridgetop areas. That was from a little bit ago up in Robertson County. Another report out of Robertson County just a little bit ago was that trees and power lines are coming down, quote, all over the place. That was up in Ridgetop a little bit ago by a trained spotter as the storm came through there. All right, now this is over into Sumner County just a little bit, but according to the radar crossing the peninsula there in Hendersonville, I just want you to see 78 mile per hour winds. Those are above hurricane force winds that have crossed over the Saunders Ferry Road community up there where the peninsula is, south of Hendersonville, and 78 mile per hour winds. That will cause damage, no doubt about it. And here's an 80 mile per hour wind gust. 80 mile per hour wind there right around Rebecca Drive there on the south side of or right about the middle of the peninsula there, south of Hendersonville. 80 miles per hour, and that's just about 200 feet off the ground. So we have pretty good idea that that's reaching the ground, and that there will be a lot of damage along the peninsula there as far as trees and power lines down. I have no doubt. So that's currently moving right. Let's back it up a little bit. That's heading directly for the Weather Service office. Yep. Let's see here. Gonna check some other stuff here.
Not seeing too much as far as hail goes on radar. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, these don't seem to be hailers. Seems like the only thing falling out of these storms is trees. Trees and debris. So trees and power lines. Let me show you on, I'm going to go over to TBNA here, and let's take a look at this. It looks like what we have here is a gust front coming through Davidson County. I know this is a polygon mess here, but it looks like what we have here is a gust front coming through Davidson County. The front edge of it over here, right around the Weather Service office, is very intense, very intense. But I would expect some strong winds as well, all the way across Davidson County, moving from north to south, coming into downtown right now. I would expect that we would get some strong winds there. And let's just kind of look and see who is included in severe thunderstorm warnings currently. And currently, a really good part of Davidson County is included in a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's sort of take a 30,000-foot view here and show you who's included. Pretty much all of Davidson County right now included in a severe thunderstorm warning. You can expect 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts as the storms come through. Hard to pinpoint exactly where those are right now. We had a very definite area of destructive winds that moved through Greenbrier. And, well, that's creative, isn't it? Let's go to another radar here. Had a very a strong destructive area of winds that came through Springfield, Greenbrier, Ridgetop, and into Goodlettsville. That has moved over into Sumner County and Wilson counties. So that particular area of strong wind has now moved out of Davidson County. But we have some other areas of strong wind to contend with. And I'm going to back up one frame and go back to the other radar and show you, there could be strong winds over here toward Ashland City, coming toward Davidson County. There could be just different pockets of strong gusty winds. And so that's why all these warnings are in effect. So you can expect that wherever you are, if you're in Davidson County, you can expect to have some strong gusty winds. I'm not too far from that gust front. I think I'm going to look outside real quick and kind of see what it looks like coming in. The Weather Service, we were sort of asking the Weather Service, what kind of wind gusts are y'all seeing up there at the National Weather Service office, because they're right in the line of it. And one of the meteorologists there says it's an impressive storm. They lost commercial power, but the generator has kicked in, so they're in good shape there. This sort of stuff happens up there to them, so they're good to go. They're cranking on generator power, and but they said it was an impressive storm. When a meteorologist who's issuing warnings says it's an impressive storm, it was an impressive storm. So they got a lot of wind up there right along Old Hickory Lake. All right, so let's go forward in time. Haven't gotten a solid scan yet. I'm going to look outside, Graham. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a gust front coming through. So what we got here, we're looking at TBNA radar from about 4 minutes ago, and it looks like there's a gust front coming through Davidson County, pushing south. Could be some gusty winds with it. Almost all of Davidson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Williamson could be included after a while. We're just going to have to see how that evolves over the next little bit. Still haven't gotten a good scan from them in the past couple of minutes. Let's see over there at TBNA. So let's hope that improves in a little bit. Let's go to the Weather Service radar. And let's see, as the winds are coming out the southeast side of the Weather Service, and we got some radar data here that's very high resolution because it's very close to the radar, and it's looking at about 70 mile per hour winds. So we can assume that's what came over the Weather Service office just a minute ago. 70-mile-per-hour winds up there north of Mount Juliet, really from about where Mount Juliet runs into Lebanon Road. So over there in Wilson County, we'll let Wilson County handle that. But over there, right where Mount Juliet Road comes into Lebanon Road over there in Wilson County, that's where the strongest winds are headed here in just a matter of seconds, really. And so then back here in Davidson County, radar is going to have a really hard time with this for a while. And I won't get in the weeds with it again on this stream, but in others I've described how the Doppler effect comes into play on how all this works. And anyway, it can be a little hard for the radar here in Nashville to read strong winds over here in about the middle of Davidson County. So we're just going to have to see what happens here in Davidson County for a little while. And if you're inside one of these polygons, you need to be prepared for strong winds. All right, so Bells Bend, Belmead, Bellevue, Riverwalk, Pasco, downtown Nashville, up to the old Fontenelle property up there, Beeman Park, Joelton, Madison, B&A, Percy Priest Lake. All you guys are included in the severe thunderstorm warnings, okay? So just assume you're going to get strong winds, even though radar might be having a hard time noting exactly where those are, okay? So that's the best course of action. Weather Service estimated winds of 70 miles per hour at their office, and the radar continues to show 60 to 80 moving through Mount Juliet over there in Wilson County. So yeah, they estimated 70 mile per hour winds there at their office. That's exactly what radar was showing, and that makes perfect sense. And I'm sure that was an impressive storm, as they said. New severe thunderstorm warning coming out. That's going to be for areas east of us for those very strong winds coming through Mount Juliet right now, really all the way up and down Mount Juliet, crossing Mount Juliet Road, crossing kind of the curve in the road there in Mount Juliet, and coming down toward I-40, Belinda City. Very strong winds there, and that's going to be crossing the interstate as we speak over there in Wilson County. So some new warnings are going to be coming out to our east for that area of wind. We'll have to see kind of how the severe thunderstorm warning situation evolves in Davidson County over the next little bit. Quite a few folks, almost everybody in Davidson County is included in a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And we would expect that those would sort of shore up and get adjusted over the next few minutes. So it's a little bit tough to pinpoint exactly where the strongest wind is right now. Based on radar, we can give it some good guesses. TB&A, which is radar down in Nolensville that normally helps us out, at the moment looks like this, and that is very unhelpful. And the last scan there, if you want to call this a scan, was at 102, and that's very rare. This thing normally updates about every minute. On days like today. So TB&A appears to be down for now, so we cannot use it. So we got to use this. Well, this has a horrible read right now on the wind here in Davidson County. So I'm going to go up to Hopkinsville radar and look at that. It's not going to have a great view of this. It's a little bit far away, but it's going to be better than nothing. Let's see what it shows. Yeah, it's pretty lit up here. Again, we're looking pretty high up in the storm. We're looking at about 3,000 feet. We're showing winds of 57, 58 miles an hour. The very strong winds over here in Mount Juliet are shown up about 4,000 feet, about 70 miles an hour. So still could have some strong gusty winds, especially over there on the east side of I-65, Madison, Lakewood, Hermitage, Donaldson, and over toward Percy Priest Lake. So still could see some strong winds there. but it's hard to see that on radar. It's tough to see that on radar. So we're just going to have to use what we have here as far as radar goes. Let's see here. Looks like some strong storms coming in from Dickson County, from White Bluff and Charlotte. That's going to impact Davidson County and a good part of Williamson. That warning, by the way, that's coming out for the warning that's coming out for east of us over there is also going to set off cell phones for them. That's going to be Wilson, Rutherford, Smith, Trousdale. So again, that's rare that we get those. And let's see if that includes any of our counties. It says that's going to include part of Davidson. So my weather radio is going off here. Let's see what that includes here. How's this for a mess? I'm at least going to be able to show you the polygon here. So the new polygon that was just issued, I know this is a mess. Let me try to walk you through it here. The new polygon was the one right here that goes through Percy Priest Lake, goes up to Lakewood, Hendersonville, includes all of Wilson County there. So those of you from Hermitage, Percy Priest Lake, Donaldson, you guys need to prepare for some strong destructive winds. Y'all are a part of this polygon as this moves through. Now, it looks like according to radar, the worst of the wind is going to be in Wilson County. And you see that as well as I do. Here's the white line of the county line here, and there's your bright yellows over here. It doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't strong destructive winds over here near Nashville Shores, Percy Priest Lake, Long Hunter State Park, and Percy Priest Lake. It might be a bad angle to the radar, but it indicates that there's an area here potentially stretching from I-40 east of Donaldson Pike all the way over through Belinda City and Wilson County, where there could be some destructive winds up to 80 miles per hour. So that's what this new warning's for, the one that set your phones off just a second ago. And so you may be joining us for the first time here in the past few minutes. And this is the reason you got that WEA alert on your phone, is because there are 3 tiers of severe thunderstorm warnings, 1, 2, and 3. We typically will get a 1, maybe a 2. Rarely do we get a 3. These are 3s, and the 3s will set off your WEA alerts on your phone. And that means there is the potential for 80 plus mile per hour winds within the polygon. This polygon includes, it's this one here that goes from Lakewood, Hermitage, Percy Priest Lake, Rural Hill, Belinda City, Mount Juliet, Gladeville, Lebanon, Shop Springs over there in Wilson County. So it's this polygon here. So where you see the bright yellows and the velocities going in mostly through Wilson County, that's where the strongest winds are right now. And there are reports, even there in Mount Juliet, over there in Mount Juliet, there was a ham radio operator there in Mount Juliet. Winds are gusting to 70 plus on his anemometer there in Mount Juliet. So that was a little bit ago. So lots of power outages, lots of infrastructure damage, poles, trees, that sort of thing came down. I'm going to go look at the NES reports and see what we're dealing with as far as outages here in Davidson County. And it looks like we're at about 65. We're at about 6,500 customers, and many of those are, of course, as you can see up here in the north and northeastern parts of Davidson County. So the one in Goodlettsville here, there could be quite a few outages there in Goodlettsville, and then over to the east, there are, of course, some big outages. Here's over there in Hendersonville. We were talking about that area of Hendersonville that got hit a moment ago. Pretty much the whole peninsula there without power, where those strongest winds came through a little bit ago. All All right. So yes, it's a mess, and we are probably just now beginning to understand how many trees and power lines, stuff like that, came down. I'm gonna go check the Goodlettsville camera just see if it happens to have come back up. No, it's still out there. So they may have power, but they may not have internet. One moment, Graham. I'll be right back. All right, back with you. So strong winds over there in Wilson County continue, and let's look back to the west here and see what we have as far as a severe thunderstorm warning that's back to the west. We got this area in Ashland City that could be creating some strong wind gusts as well. It's kind of a messy looking storm. It's from Ashland City down to Kingston Springs, Burns, and will be coming into Fairview before too long. Kind of a messy looking storm. Hard to get a read on velocities. It's not going to show up on the Weather Service's radar just because of the angle. We're not going to see that strong wind velocities from the Weather Service radar. So we're going to rely a lot on reports there as that comes in the western parts of Davidson County and into Fairview. Switch over to the Hopkinsville radar. Not seeing just a lot of strong damaging winds there in Ashland City. It doesn't have the greatest read on it either, honestly. So it's sort of in a bad spot to be able to see it well with radar. And as far as the direction it's moving, and we don't have TBNA right now. TBNA took a lunch break apparently and is out. We're still looking at that. So let's go back to the Weather Service's radar, and that's just about all we've got right now, which is good. It's just not going to read velocities well here back to the west. All right, so let's just sort of talk about where we're at. We have a severe thunderstorm warning on the west side that is for downtown Nashville back to the west. This is in effect until. Let's see. That's going to be in effect until 1:30. Okay, so about another 10 minutes, 11 minutes on that one. That's for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. That's possible there on the west side of downtown Nashville back to the west. All right. Coming into Fairview also. Fairview, no part of Williamson County is currently under a warning. So just general thunderstorms right now in Williamson County. We'll see if that changes. We're watching upstream for these storms there in Ashland City and Dixon County to move southeast. Currently, they're warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. We're not going to see those velocities on radar. So if there are 60-mile-per-hour winds in those storms, we're not going to see them on radar. Okay, so they could be around Kingston Springs, crossing I-40, coming into Fairview. We don't have a way to see those. So if you have some reports out of there, please use hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. Let us know what you're seeing there in Kingston Springs, if you're watching from Cheatham County or eastern Dixon County perhaps, Burns, White Bluff, places like that. And that'll give us a good heads up of what to expect here in Davidson and Williamson counties. Hey, Graham, talk a little bit about if people want to send in reports on Instagram, what's the best way to do that? I have a feeling with all the WEA alerts that went off a little bit ago, we probably have a few more people joining us than we did a little bit ago. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. On Instagram, if you are following us there, you can send us a direct message with a photo or just any kind of report on wind damage with your location. Yeah, I think just shoot us a direct message and we'll get it over to the weather service that way.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. That works for us as well, to use Instagram. All right, so what we're going to watch over the next. I also should mention, I think there was a flood advisory issued for at least Davidson County. Let me go back and look at that. I don't want to miss that. I think that was a little bit ago. Let me scroll back up here, and I'm going to find that because I don't want to miss it. Graham, do you remember seeing that?
I do remember seeing that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. Flood advisory for Cheatham, Davidson, Montgomery, Robertson, Sumner. That's until 2 o'clock. So basically the messaging there is that these storms coming through, we could see, especially up in Davidson County, could see some flooding issues there. Typically that would be your creeks, ditches, low-lying areas on roads that typically pond water. Could see some flooding there along those areas in Davidson County over the next hour or so. And I would really expect that almost anywhere, including Williamson County, as these storms come through from the west. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for the western warning here. So you can see that polygon disappeared. The only severe thunderstorm warning polygon we have, and I'm thankful for this, the only severe thunderstorm warning polygon we have is over here on the east side from Lakewood, Hermitage, Donaldson, down to Percy Priest Lake. And that was for these destructive winds that came through Hendersonville, Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, the Weather Service office, Mount Juliet, down toward Belinda City. We believe that the strongest winds with that now are all the way down here on the Rutherford and Wilson County lines and have gone through Gladeville, headed down toward Walter Hill and the southern parts of Wilson County. So that's where we believe, according to radar, those strongest winds now are, and we don't have reason right now to believe that those winds still exist up in Davidson County. So we'll see if they shore the warning up a little bit, bring the polygon out of Davidson County. We'll see if that happens over the next little bit, and that may happen here in a little bit. Report out of Sumner County, there are trees down all over the Indian Lake Peninsula. And that's what we were talking about up there in Hendersonville, where the power was out there. We were looking at the NES map a minute ago. And that is this peninsula here in Hendersonville. There it is right there. So right just barely over the county line across Old Hickory Lake from Davidson County. Report there from Sumner County Severe Weather. Saying that there are trees down all over that peninsula in Hendersonville. That doesn't surprise me a bit, man. That thing was a beast. It was a beast going through there.
Oh, yeah.
So general thunderstorms now coming into, we'll take general thunderstorms all day. Let's compared to what we had a little bit ago. General thunderstorms now, non-severe storms coming from Cheatham County into Davidson and Williamson counties from the west. Some rain, some thunder and lightning, and that's pushing to the southeast. That's this area here of rain. It's maybe a little hard to see my cursor, but this area of rain here from Kingston Springs, it's coming into Bellevue and Fairview and Bells Bend and places like that. It stretches all the way back to Dixon County. Let me put it in motion for you so you can see which direction that's moving. And pretty much everything's moving from kind of northwest to southeast, kind of west to east. And so that's the direction this is moving. So Nashville and Williamson County in store for some more rain over the next little bit. Again, watch those creeks and streams and low-lying areas, ditches, places that flood easily. There's a couple of interstate spots that tend to pond water sometimes. Be careful with those. Just as those, as this rain falls, we've had a lot of rain past couple of days, so we expect those to pond up.
Not seeing much with with wind with the storm out to the west here, these general thunderstorms.
Yeah, that's good. I hope that stays the case. This is on Rain Tree Drive over there in Hendersonville. Again, this is over in Sumner County, but this has come in on T-spotter, trees coming down on houses. This is why we were saying, you really might as well, with winds like that, be in your tornado safe place, because you just have so many of these big trees around. Tree falls on the house. You really would prefer, we'd prefer you to be as close to the center of the house as possible, for this exact reason right here. Is trees coming down. You don't want to be upstairs or against an outside wall or something when trees are coming down like this. But it looks like a very destructive day there. This was from Rain Tree Drive in Hendersonville, but all up and down the peninsula there in Hendersonville, it just looks like a mess. And we expect similar damage in Davidson County, in the northern parts of Davidson County, where those winds went first. Here's this is a video. This was from Mount Juliet, and I haven't seen one yet for Davidson County, but if I do, I'll show it. This is from Mount Juliet, and this is kind of the wind that they were dealing with. And that sure looks pretty close to hurricane force, doesn't it?
Sure does.
All right, well, we've reached a point here where we do not have any warnings in effect for Davidson or Williamson counties.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly where this was. Let me watch it before I show it. So I don't know where this video was shot, but it cracked her double pane window, the wind did. And I would assume this was up in Hendersonville, but I don't know for sure. But that video came to us a little bit ago. Let's see if that shows. No, it doesn't show where that was.
Still haven't gotten a ton of reports here on Instagram, but I'm sure as the hour rolls on, maybe some more will come in. People kind of assessing damage and stuff.
Another video out of Hendersonville.
Oh yeah.
Not a good place to be.
Mm-mm. Wow.
Don't do that. I showed your video, but don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bad deal. Let's see. Got another video here. I'm kind of looking through damage here. There are no warnings in effect for Davidson or Williamson counties. Those have all expired. They've gone away. Those are over east of us. So, Graham, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's run through. I've got radar pulled up here. You can kind of see where the rain's coming into. Let's talk about reports, because that's going to be a big part of the rest of this afternoon. Yeah. If you see damage, go ahead and send that to us using hashtag #TSpotter on Twitter, and we will get that over to the Weather Service. The Weather Service will be watching that feed as well, and that will help them to know where the damage was exactly. You can send those to us on Instagram also. Graham will get that, and he'll pass that on to the Weather Service. But let us know where the damage is. But you don't have to venture out. Nobody's asking you to venture out and look for damage. But if you see it while you are out, or if you're near your place and see that, just let us know. And that would be very helpful to us as we go through this afternoon. We're going to jump back off of here, and we're going to get off of YouTube Live. We're going to switch back over to Twitter and Instagram only for a little while. If we need to jump back on for a warning, we will. But right now it looks like there are no warnings in effect. and that's a good thing. So we'll talk to you later. Send us those reports, and we'll see you on Twitter and Instagram.